Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Floor's yours, buddy.
No,
Floor's yours. I'll tell you why, because I was on social media last night, and you have very strong feelings about that game last night.
Yeah, but I'm wounded.
Why?
I'm hurt, man.
I'm here for you, buddy.
Yeah, everything that we talked about, the dynamic of the show yesterday, it didn't turn dark, but, we were talking about what was going on with this team, the direction, and I just feel like a fool. And the reason I feel like a fool is I was all locked in on the play-in in-game season tournament. And to hear Steph Curry, the chef, orchestrate and talk to his guys mic'd up about winning by 12, and they're up 24, and the way that game went, and everybody had a hand in it, and Moses Moody being taken out after he scored the first 11 to 12 points in the fourth quarter, Steiny, we'll get to it. I think that's what hurts me most. And then Kerr using a timeout. I've been in sales, throwing something up against the wall where it was an offensive foul on Steph Curry. And to waste that timeout, I believe, may have played a role in the 2 turnovers by Dre and Steph. I mean, Steph got picked off like Vinny Testaverde over the middle by Malik Monk. Steiny, I cannot believe this team lost that game in that fashion on national TV. And Steve Kerr says we're not in a free fall. Okay, all right, you're not in a free fall, but you're in something, and I don't like it. And then on top of that, Steph Curry and Draymond are in the back room, and my guys in slippers, Chris Paul, with his annual injury. Get out there and lead. What are you guys talking about? And I know your heart's in the right place, but if you're not available, what's going on in the back? We got a game to win. And I just didn't like those optics. And then GP2. My gosh, Steiny, I'm no doctor. I'm praying. But he reached back. They say calf injury. Oh my gosh, is what I'm saying. This is bad. This is Michael Jackson bad. Dude, everything you said was on display. And Warrior fans are not happy. It's not just me. I'm going to try to be calm. I know you're over there. Dude, Steiny, I watched it again.
Already?
This is just, I couldn't sleep, man. Yeah. This is no shtick.
Well, I look at a game like last night, and obviously it's a gut punch. But to me, that loss is a veteran loss. It's a loss for Steph. It's a loss for Kerr. It's a loss for Draymond and Clay and even Wiggins. He had a great Steve Kerr had his choices, and he went with who he always goes with, the veterans. He goes with the veterans. If there's one thing we found out in the last 10 years or whatever it's been, he's going to play veterans. And he did it last night. He took Moses Moody out of the game with 4:36 left in the fourth quarter. Warriors were still up 119-114 at that point.
Man.
So
with 51 seconds left.
So it was a tough loss last night, obviously.
Now, what about the season? Where do you go from here? You got back-to-back with the Clippers, meaning 2 games, tomorrow and Saturday. I don't know what to say, man. And I'm not going to come in here. I'm really disappointed in Steve Kerr. I really am. Again, I'll just go over what I'd started with the Moody sub.
All right.
Okay. Maybe Clay could have came out. But all I've talked about is the mob movies and how I love loyalty. I've preached that, man. So how can I be hypocritical, Steiny, if he doesn't want to face that bear, maybe taking Clay out, and he's going to ride or die with the big 3. But at the end of the day, I didn't say if somebody's hot like Moody was. He was in fuego, and it is a crime he didn't finish that game. So if the loyalty is going to supersede the basketball part of it about who's got the hot hand, then I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, here's what Steve Kerr said about subbing out for Moses Moody with 4:36
Moses
left.
was awesome tonight. We needed to get Wiggs on the floor for defense against Fox. decided to go with Clay and our vets. We thought about keeping him out there, but we made the move that we made. By the way, Moses was fantastic. Out of the rotation tonight to start the game. Talked to him before the game and explained what we were doing. The guy, he reminds me of Loon Moses. He's the ultimate pro. Just continues to work every single day and, understands, embraces coaching, embraces the work. Moses, he's a special guy. He's like a, wing version of Loon. And that matters. That's why he's going to be in the league for a long time.
All right,
That's nice and dandy. We don't care how long he's going to be in the league. I mean, who cares if he shouldn't have came out the game. And now we can follow everything, Steiny. They didn't want to upset Clay because Clay is Clay, and you got to appease to him. Say that. Don't whisper sweet nothing, Steve, about like the vets lost this game. You want to say that? Okay, and the coach.
Yeah, I'm just the one thing that's always been a theme of Steve Kerr since he's been a coach of the Warriors, again, is he's made it clear that given a choice, he's going to go with the veteran, especially if that veteran's a champion. That's why now I think you got to at least open up the door to he doesn't have a contract next year, Steve Kerr. And the one thing that I always thought was interesting is there's a large segment of fans that they want Steve Kerr back. And I just say, well, do you really want Steve Kerr if you're not in your championship window anymore? Because he just plays the veterans most of the time. He's going to lean on them. So if this thing's going by the wayside and these guys are getting up there, but they're not able to produce, I think it is a fair question then, do you want Steve Kerr leading this team beyond this year? If this is the way this year's going to go, then who's coaching this team next year and who's on it and what's the goal?
Well, I understand
because Steve is who he is.
Yeah,
too.
But Steiny,
he's gonna do.
Right,
but
yeah.
like
because you're going
made
bigger
a deal
picture
with Kerr.
than what happened last night. That was a chess game. That was a game you were up 24 points. So all I'm concerned about right now, Steiny, is the fact, the moves you made, the challenge. Okay, if you're going to go with play the loyalty card, say it, because we can all see it. And I think that's why I get offended when you give what sweet nothings about Moody. But what do you think his morale is like? Now, you can sip your coffee and say, Steiny, who cares about Moody's morale? But it's a two-way street. There is no way in the world Moses Moody should have been taken out of that game. I mean, he was having a moment. And then on top of that, you lose the game. So, Steiny, I'm looking at you, and you missed it. I called myself a hypocrite. I said, it's the big three, it's loyalty. So I never thought it would get to where loyalty would supersede somebody being hot in the moment. And Andrew Wiggins should have probably went in for Klay Thompson at that moment, and they should have rolled Moses Moody, who before the game was told he wasn't going to be a part of it, and he stayed ready. I mean, that can be questioned. And then again, that challenge. You got 2 more minutes in a game with this magnitude in this locale, and you're going to go in it with no timeouts? And guess what happens? 2 turnovers. And I just wonder, were the turnovers because Steph mentally knew he didn't have an outlet? I don't know. But come on, Kerr. That was bad last night by Coach Kerr.
Well, it may have been bad, but it is, again, who he is. And my feeling all along has been if you're ready to start moving off the court, or if you're at a period of time where you make a determination that you got to get Moody more time, you got to get Kuminga more time, you got to see what Podziemski's got. Maybe Steve Kerr's not the guy to coach the team. You know, you're
saying he don't care about that.
You're asking Steve Kerr to be somebody who he's not. And so I think it's fair to wonder about the head coach of this team moving forward once this year is over. But remember, the Warriors made it clear to their fans this offseason, and a lot of fans were completely on board.
They were going for it.
They were going for it. They were running it back. They were going to give this unit one more chance, this core one more chance. So if that's what everybody signed up for, at least in the summer, you got to continue to try to execute it. Now, we're 18 games into the season. Is that enough time for you to start saying, maybe we got to pull off this strategy? I don't know the answer to that, but I would tend to think that Steve Kerr's not there yet just because it is only 18 games. So they're in a little funk here because they've got to figure out how much time they're going to give this. But while they're giving it time, Goo, and Kerr's the coach, he's probably going to continue to give the veterans the benefit of the doubt until it gets really, really uncomfortable or until they realize they're not a title contender anymore.
Well, if I would have called you while they were up 24, Draymond was spectacular. I thought in the first half
I don't think he was spectacular.
Okay, but I thought he brought some energy.
Well,
okay.
He's better. He's
and Wiggins looked like the old Wiggins, and I wonder how much of that was because Klay Thompson had said, Wiggins, you want me to go to the bench. That's neither here nor there. Even Klay was hot. I guess I'm not ready, and I can't accept that this team is at a juncture to where they can blow a 24-point lead. And Steiny, 42 fouls, that's the sign of age. That's the sign of slow foot. I know Fox is a road runner. He's as quick as they come. But Steiny, this team, we talked about fouls and turnovers last year. That was the mantra, fouls and turnovers, and Jordan Poole was a big part of it. He's not here. And you go out and commit 20 and 2 by your two captains? Draymond, that just nobody's there, buddy. Steph.
This is what Steve Kerr said cost him the game. That was one of them, Goo.
The fouling and the turnovers, both 42 free throws. It's really hard to beat a team on the road, a good team on the road, while giving up 42 free throws. So just the fouling and you know, there were some where there's not much we can do. Where we get out of position and they come in, create the contact, but we're not set or whatever. But there were plenty where foul a 3-point shooter, bite on a pump fake, reach when we don't have to. It's really hard to win giving up that many free throws. And then, of course, 20 turnovers, gave up 26 points off those turnovers. So that's the game right there. It's those two things.
That's Steve Kerr from last night talking about the Warriors. They committed 20 turnovers. They fouled all night long. I saw a stat.
I know where you're going.
Something like they gave up 40 free throws and turned the ball over 20 times. The first time that's happened in an NBA game in like 10 years.
Since 2014.
Yeah, something like that. So 888-957-9570 is the number. And the Golden State Warriors were hoping to get back on track last night, and they had a 72-48 lead.
I was laughing
in the second quarter.
72-4. This is over.
And the Kings finished on a 7-0 run to make it 72-55, which meant something. At halftime, they went in with a little bit of momentum. They came out, and the Warriors were still in control. But look, the bottom line is Draymond Green once again had a hand in that game because things got a little different once he got a technical foul.
He got the building,
and then he got a frustration foul because he was mad, and
he flopped. And the building
flopped.
And then Kerr was like, "Get your ass up!" Like that. It didn't sit. It was one of them. You ain't just come on. And I didn't think that. I didn't like that. But the crowd saw the play on the monitor, and then they got like a college crowd.
Yep. Let's go to Jim. Jim's in the 707. He was at the game last night.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Jim, what's going on, man? Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Steiny and Guru, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So it seemed like the Warriors were stuck. Klay was stuck on 20 points, and Steph was stuck on 24 points for like the entire third quarter. We go in and give up those 7 easy points at the end of the first half. My son and I are thinking, okay, here we go. Then Draymond, at some point in the late fourth, takes that stupid flop, lays on the ground like somebody shot him, misses the whole play, then gets a technical foul for complaining about Malik Monk carrying the ball. But I'll tell you one thing that really upsets me about the entire night last night was the Moses Moody substitution. Steve Kerr, in that interview, admitted that he had a game plan before the game, and he can't make in-game changes. He was going to take Moody out regardless of how hot Moody was. And Moody should have ended that fourth quarter with 17 points because he had 2 threes knocked out with offensive fouls from his teammates. He was cooking last night. He should have been kept in the damn game. That's one thing that pisses me off about Kerr. His in-game decisions are not good. He predetermines what he's going to do in a game, and he sticks to that game plan regardless of what's going on, whether Moody's cooking or not. He was a great defender last night, great shooter last night. He was our only energy in the fourth quarter. And then you got to get Kuminga, man. Kuminga was a big turd out there last night. He did nothing last night. He had 2 personal fouls, 1 rebound, and 0 points at some point in the fourth quarter. He's not even boarding. He's not doing anything.
Terrible hook shot in the paint.
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible. The whole fourth quarter, when that fourth quarter came around, my son and I said, look, we might be in for it, especially after our third quarter was pretty lackluster, and that's usually our quarter.
Hey, Jim, how
get anything going?
How were the Kings fans? Was it loud in there?
It was loud, man, but they were awesome. I mean, my son and I were both on all Warrior gear, and we were sitting in a bunch of Kings fans, and we were dabbing it up and having fun with the fans. They were having fun with us, and the arena's beautiful. The fans were awesome last night, at least the ones we dealt with. We were sitting about 30 rows from the floor. One other thing, I don't know, Goo, were you there last night?
No, I wasn't. No, I was in the U.
Klay Thompson let a fan get in his head, and right around the end of the third quarter, he was having a flat-out argument with a fan behind the Warriors bench for it seemed like 5 minutes.
Oh, no.
This guy was going at him, and he was going at the fan, and it was like, my son and I were like, what is he doing?
When was this? When was that, Jim?
It was right around the end of the third quarter.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Third quarter.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jim, for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
I wanted to ask Jim, okay, now, what do we do now?
That's what I want to ask you today, because I'm done yelling. I'm bleeding. Yeah. Can I say something about Klay?
Sure.
All right. I haven't used this because you won't let it die. This is no shade. But if you watch that game on Curry's game-winning attempt and Klay in the corner, Evan said it looked like he threw his hands up, and Evan might be right, but I took it totally different. He did the pouty, throw your both hands down after it missed, or he had both hands up while Curry was dribbling the ball like, dude, I'm open. I'm open. Throw it to me. I'm open. And I told you, Steiny, Curry could have made that pass, but he shot it. But the reaction from Klay was, Steiny, I want to say lightweight thirst of, I'm open, pass it. Let me shoot it. Not that shot. Just a thought.
Well, you can always look back and
I'm down.
He could have got, I thought, Steph, if he would have gone back to Draymond there when he kind of got soft doubled, maybe Draymond can swing it to Klay, but it wasn't a very good shot they ended up getting. That's for sure.
And the Kings missed a lot of shots too, Steiny. I mean, I was like, you guys deserved to. It almost got to that juncture for me as a Sabonis. Oh my gosh.
So can I assume that Warrior fans last night, when Steve Kerr subbed out for Moses Moody, it wasn't so much Wiggins was coming back, but it was that Klay wasn't coming out.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, that's one of those where
it's predetermined.
Yes, and I think he'll do it again next game, and the game after that. I mean, again, until this team doesn't think it's a championship team, he's going to go
rank
with Wiggins and Klay and Curry and Draymond and Looney. If you want to start developing the young kids, he's probably not the coach to do it.
Steiny, what about just in a moment? Klay might have come in here right now if he had been subbed out and said, I understand why you kept Moody in there for me. So I get what you're saying, but it doesn't have to be, just like to the caller's point, it was at the game, it's predetermined. No, Kerr, you got 4 rings, I thought, because you can do stuff, unlike Kyle Shanahan, on the fly. Not when everything you got to lead. This one hurt, man. Can you give me a worse loss? Number-wise, you can, but they wanted this game. Curry's talking about winning by 12. I didn't like, hey, we put another rat on the table early by Atco. Having him, the NBA was just, were they pushing the tournament which I like. Curry's talking about how to win by 12, not the game.
The tournament's been a disaster.
Well, I think
the tournament's been a disaster, and it all came to a head last night.
What do you speak of?
It was embarrassing what happened in some cities around the NBA.
The point differential.
The Boston Celtics were hammering the Chicago Bulls.
They were.
And they were intentionally fouling Andre Drummond late in the game to run up the score.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's everything that's wrong with sports. You're encouraging bad sportsmanship. You're encouraging running up the score. I saw the quotes coming out of Chicago and another city, Boston. Billy Donovan sees what's going on, but he can't do anything about it. And it's just not.
Well, you can make a free throw, Billy. I hear you.
Okay, so you're in favor. You're in favor of a team up 30 fouling the other team.
Yeah, that was NBA 2K.